So the assignment really was to take this 87-year-old show and try to update it for a modern day audience. You know, the things that worked 87 years ago, some of those things still work today, but audiences' expectations, probably as a result of TV and Netflix, our attention span has certainly changed over the years. And so the task of taking the show and really updating it for this purpose was a great challenge. And so over the last couple of years, we had the opportunity to take this dialogue and shorten it, try to find moments in the show that are visually stimulating. I try to take about every 7 minutes a moment from the show, action that's from the show, and really expand it into something visually stimulating.
The transition is really important because this has been at the forefront of tourism on the Outer Banks since 1937. People come to the Outer Banks to see the lost colonies. So we've got to make sure that the production is still current and viable and that the younger audiences are interested in coming to see it. And the only way to do that is to have cutting edge technology and be doing new and different things to keep their interest and make them want to come see the show.
I really like the changes. The projection method that is now used, the sound is great, lighting is unbelievable, and the pace of the show. I'm amazed at how quickly things move now.
The other really big effort in creating the show was to try to update the things that were in the show that were culturally insensitive. As you can imagine, you know, there was different attitudes about different cultures in that day, and a show that's about the English who first came over to this part of the world and their interaction with the indigenous people who were here. Some of that dialogue and that action needed to be updated. And so we undertook a pretty big project forging a great partnership with the Lumbee tribe here in the area, doing a lot of research so that it was not only accurate, but also respectful to all the cultures involved.
You know, growing up, even, you know, in the years that I've been alive, it's been a constant struggle for representation and visibility in today's society. To see our people on this stage and one of the largest and longest running outdoor dramas in the United States, it's a very full circle thing. It's a huge victory for indigenous people across Indian country to be on this stage and to represent our culture and our identity to thousands and thousands of people over the course of the summer.
We spent about a year researching, figuring out, talking with members from the Lumbee tribe about what elements would feel appropriate and still accurate. We didn't want to ignore the idea that there was conflict. But a lot of the concepts for this show that we're doing now really arose from those conversations. In discussion with the Lumbee tribe chairman, he would often talk about that reality of conflict, and he would often compare it to animals. He'd say, yeah, well, the bears and the wolves sometimes don't get along, and that's the way it is. And as he said that, I thought, oh, what if we take King Wingina, which is a pretty prominent moment in the show where King Wingina gets killed by Ralph Lane. Instead of showing that, what if King Wingina turns into a bear? And what if Ralph Lane turns into a wolf? And so I engaged a wonderful puppet designer, Nicholas McGann, to come in and design these beautiful theatrical puppets that allow us to transform these humans into puppets. And so that's become a really theatrical way for us to be able to depict a lot of the moments of violence in the show.
One thing I want to say is that the Lost Colony production has set the standard for what collaborative relationships are supposed to look like with indigenous communities. There are conversations now that's happening across the theatrical world, across Indian country, as an effect of what we've done on this stage and the conversations that we've entered into and how we entered into those conversations and what we arrived at.
One of the other big challenges, I think, in creating the show is you're taking a piece that's 87 years old. This piece is a legacy here in this area. And so I spent a lot of time talking with local folks who worked in the show before, what needed to remain and what were the things that could be touched. And so we found, I think, a wonderful way of maintaining the past and really standing on the shoulders of those who came before.
Yeah, so for a long time, I sought to play the role of John Borden in this show, and try as I might, it did not work out. And then in 2021, I was given the opportunity to play John Borden while the show was being reimagined. And so I had grown up in Kill Devil Hills. I had seen the show when I was younger. I had always had an understanding of what it was. And for me personally, to be able to fulfill that dream in 2021 the effects of that on me as a person and as an artist are things that I can't even begin to say how grateful I am for that opportunity, right? It was a transformative summer. Being the lead of a show that I care about so deeply in a place that I am so connected to, that is truly my home, is magical. And to do it at a time when the show was changing was so exciting, because not only was I getting to engage with a character that I knew in one context, but I was also getting to bring it to life in a new way, which was really exciting. And I almost felt like I'm so glad I waited all that time, because it was so worth the wait to be a part of this reimagined show.